mean, in terms of messaging Putin, I think it's really good. One of the aces are his deployable nuclear powered submarines, not the ballistic ones, ballistic missile ones, the attack submarines. Russia have been running those in and out of the North Atlantic, since the 50s, and they do it with a degree of skill. They're well run. Don't look at the Black Sea Fleet and translate that across. These are well run submarines. The crews are reasonably well paid. They've got two or three that they can run on rotation, and that looks like it's going to go up. So this is a capable outfit, and really our job throughout the Cold War was to put a line broadly across the Greenland, Iceland, UK gap, but further north than that if you can, and prevent that threat breaking out into the Atlantic, because once it's in the Atlantic, it's much harder to find. And so really what we're doing here with Norway, we've been doing it all along with our frigates, our Type 23 frigates. What we're doing here with Norway is just showing an alliance. We're basically teaming up with another long-held, trusted ally and going, let's do this together. And we're sending 4,000 soldiers and Marines to Norway this year alone for Arctic training, and have been doing so pretty much for the last 50 years. So we're really close with Norway when it comes to that threat around the top, on the land, and now at sea. So in terms of unified messaging to Putin against that specific threat of his submarines, which is very real and very alive today, I think it's really powerful. But we're in desperate need of replacement for our current frigates. So we've been doing this all along. But those ships were not designed to last this long. In fact, they were designed to last 18 years, and some of them are now over 30 years. So they're getting old, and they need to be replaced by the new Type 26 frigate, which is looking to be a very capable ship. We're set to get 8. It now looks like, based on the Norwegian timelines, that we will build 2, and then the third one will probably go to them. And then people start going, oh no, we're going to be late, we're going to be delayed, or we might even lose hull numbers. I don't see it that way. This is real money coming from Norway across. It's actual cash that we can now give BAE and all the many other industries that are building this ship the confidence to get on with it. It's why China can build so fast, because their government gives their industry the confidence to do so. We don't. We sort of wring our hands, but this has changed that. So there's a real sense that actually across the 13 ships, the 8 for us and the 5, at least 5 for Norway, that actually there's enough money now in the pipeline to accelerate the builds and make them cheaper through numbers, that the whole thing ends up actually being delivered quicker and for less money. So yes, you can look at our hull 3 and go, oh, that's not good because our current frigates are really old. But I think if you look at it holistically, this is a good operational deal. And then you look at the strategy of it, that the Greenland, Iceland, UK gap, and go, yeah, this is a good deal. We've done really well to secure this. I mean, this is our most successful surface warship export program since the Leander class frigate. And they were cheap and cheerful, sort of low end ships, tier 2 ships, if you will. This is very exquisite, and people are liking it. Now, I would add just a little note of caution here. A frigate is such a sort of dynamic, it's almost organic. All the different parts for a ship to work well, all the different parts from propulsion to sensors to weapons to helicopters to acoustic signature to the ship's company to the engineers, everything all needs to work as one single cell, if you like. And it's, in my view, impossible to predict how well a ship will do that when it's still in build. So everyone's put their eggs in this particular basket, and Norway certainly have, and they're very demanding, by the way. I mean, they wouldn't do this if they didn't have confidence. But my view as a mariner and as someone who operated at sea in an anti-submarine frigate is you've got just a little note of caution, because until the first and second class have gone through trials, I mean, the Type 45 at this stage, everyone was very excited about what might happen. And then it turned out that through political pressures, actually, the propulsion system was poor, and that led to all the subsequent problems. So we're at this phase now where it looks very exciting. Lots of countries are excited by it. But I personally won't be entirely happy until the program's probably 3, maybe even 4 years into its service life. You've got 2 hulls doing trials, you've got 2 hulls out there, and you've really mashed all these capabilities together. many of which are already tried and tested. So the Merlin helicopter and the Type 2087 sonar at the back, these are tried and tested. The command system on board is tried and tested. That's really important. So a lot of this is tried and tested. A lot of it is very new. How does that integrate? Can you hunt a Russian submarine in the North Atlantic in a sea state 7 in the middle of February? That's the exam question. If the ship comes together as it should, and the answer to that is yes. But there are many, many moving parts before we can finally say this is a really, really good ship. I'm excited, but with caution. This announcement has been years, if not decades, in the making. That this is the nature of defense diplomacy. The building blocks, the relationships are put in place years ago, and then it bubbles away. And I think we were down to 4 contenders: the U.S. Constellation class. There was a German option, the French defense destroyer option, and then ours. Now, I would say, I would say this, but if you're looking for a ship to hunt Russian submarines, ours was a clear winner in amongst that lot. And Norway agreed. So they said, yes, let's go. And then, of course, it suddenly becomes, it's like, but so the people who've been engineering this, it's been going on for decades. So this isn't a sudden thing. Norway have realized that they have a vital role to play at sea as well as on the land, around the top there. And this is just a continuity or continuation of that, that awareness. Again, back to the point of what the effect it has, it's just the business of showing friendship. 2 allies have gone, let's do this together. Let's share these assets. I mean, their frigate, their Type 26 is going to be almost identical to ours. They have been operating these submarines in that area for decades, since the end of World War II, essentially. It died off a little bit at the end of the Cold War. Actually, so did in the 90s. So did our ability to hunt these submarines. We let that lapse a little bit. Obviously, everyone is now sort of picking that pace up, and this is part of that. But the infrastructure that they're in and around, I mean, it's called critical undersea infrastructure for a reason. It's the lifeline of our country. Every bit as much as the surface traffic that brings all our trade in, and all our oil and gas and everything that's in your house all comes by sea. A lot of it is ones and noughts in the financial cables that connect us to America, that take trillions of dollars worth of transactions every day. And if they fail, then we're into a sort of dark age scenario. Now, it's not that easy to make that web fail. They have redundancy in numbers, but Russia have been poking around them for decades. And my last job at sea was to deter and get them away. And then you add in our ballistic missile deterrent. Those 4 submarines, of which we keep one at sea at any time, continuous at sea deterrence. We've got to keep those submarines away from that. So this is another sort of core part. And when you do that task, it's not just the frigates. It's a whole spider's web, from intelligence to satellites to undersea sensors, increasingly, hopefully, uncrewed sensors, that all feed this master picture. And you've got the RAF's P-8 aircraft, and you've got your own submarines. Ideally, of course, we're critically thin on those at the moment. But this is a web, and the frigate is just one part of it. So, really good to have what looks like it's going to be one of the best frigates at doing it in the world, caveat applied, in the near future, to do this task. Because, if they can conduct actions against our gas pipelines or power generation pipelines, or with impunity, then we have a problem, because they will pursue that grey zone activity to their heart's content. So we need to be able to impose a cost on that. And sending a frigate out, making a din from its sonar at the back, is a good way of doing that.